it's time for FOMO. So joining us now to discuss is Caroline Wood, senior markets correspondent for the network. And we're talking, honestly, one of the craziest charts, although it's not looking as crazy because we've pulled back about substantially now from its 52-week highs. But Caroline, walk us through Super Micro. I mean, this is in and of itself one of the most FOMO type feelings when you look at this chart and its run this year.
Yeah, especially if you zoom out and look at the one-year chart, up 662%, up 164% year to date. It is still down about 25% this month, but regaining some of those losses today, up about 5% right now. We thought the AI trade might have run out of steam last week when we saw Supermicro plummet. We saw Nvidia plunge, 10% on Friday, but definitely picking up some steam. Now, we know the U.S. cracked down on exporting high-end AI chips from the likes of Nvidia to China, but it looks also like China may have found a workaround. There's this Reuters report that Supermicro is involved, that China bought Nvidia AI chips through resellers. They were reportedly embedded in server products made by Supermicro and also by Dell. Those servers contain some of Nvidia's high-end AI chips. Now, Reuters couldn't determine whether or not the Chinese retailers who sold the chips got them before the U.S. cracked down and tightened the export controls or after. But as for the buyers, they were Chinese universities and research institutes like the Chinese Academy of Sciences, Shandong Artificial Intelligence Institute, an earthquake administration, and a space science center. So keep in mind, while it's illegal for the U.S. to export chips, like the high-end AI chips from the likes of Nvidia, even through third parties, it's not illegal for Chinese companies to purchase those U.S. chips. Now, an Nvidia spokesperson did note that the chips that were involved are a negligible fraction of the products sold worldwide. And Supermicro, in a letter from a lawyer on behalf of Supermicro, they said they go above and beyond what U.S. export restrictions require by proactively taking steps to ensure its customers do not violate the curbs. Also said that its products in the reported tenders are available in China. They were available in China prior to the U.S. export controls and represent older generation servers not capable of the largest scale AI operations. I should also note that Dell was also involved. According to this Reuters report, a spokesperson there said they found no evidence of shipping products configured with the restricted chips. The U.S. Commerce Department did say that it's monitoring potential breaches. So we'll see if the U.S. has to crack down on any more expanding those bans. But it really just underscores the challenges the U.S. faces in restricting chip exports to China. That all being said, none of this is weighing on shares of Supermicro. As I said, up about 4.6% right now. Nvidia shares up 3%. If you take a look, Dell up about 3%. So not weighing on shares, but just kind of an interesting story. And as I said, really underscores the challenges that the U.S. faces, especially as AI ramps up.
Yeah, down about 30% in the last month, 20 of which in the last week, but making a nice move here today. Caroline, only right? We described this as sort of the AI arms race. It only makes sense that there's like an AI chip black market out there worldwide to get some of these things across the world. But analysts, it doesn't look like that many of them cover this stock. It's still relatively newly kind of discovered in the last year or so. But looks like the majority are in the buy camp comfortably. Are neutral ratings on these AI stocks like equivalent to sell? I feel like you're risking your reputation if you're one of these analysts and you step out on that ledge.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it like that. I don't know if they're the equivalent to sell, definitely expressing some more caution, but you don't want to be in the FOMO position, right? How aptly named for this segment. I will say I was taking a look at the analyst breakdown. As you said, the majority are in the buy camp, but if you take a look at the median price target, $961, that's quite a bit higher than where Supermicro Computer is currently trading, $748.55. But we saw it with Nvidia when AI really kind of came to the forefront last year. Even though Nvidia we knew was going to be a big beneficiary, those price targets kept going higher and higher and higher and higher. Let's see if something similar happens to companies like Supermicro, the hardware that kind of powers the AI. I know that they report earnings next week, so that could be a catalyst to continue this run higher to regain some of the monthly losses that it's experienced, or maybe we'll see, it could be a bump in the road.
Yeah, and I was also thinking this could be a really interesting one on the back of its earnings, Caroline, because frankly, I feel like last week, I know there was some catalyst behind the selling, but it's just like completely unraveled. And then it was like, just because they weren't able to provide certain targets the street wanted. I mean, that was so strange to me, but we will leave it there. Great insight on Supermicro Computer. I'm sure we'll discuss this honestly before the week ends because it's a frequent flyer on this show, but great insight. Caroline Wood, Senior Markets Correspondent for the network.